When the office goes silent. I never expected one simple moment to change the way I looked at him forever. It started like nothing unusual, just a normal evening, the kind where you don't think anything memorable will happen, the kind where you don't plan on anything. But some moments arrive without warning, and once you can't forget them. I was standing in the kitchen, waiting for the kettle to boil, mindlessly staring at the steam drifting upward from the pot. The apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the refrigerator and the faint sound of rain tapping against the window. I like nights like that. Calm, predictable, simple. And then he walked in. I didn't even hear his footsteps at first. I only the shift in the room, that subtle tension that happens when someone steps into your space without saying a word. I turned my head slightly, just enough to see him standing in the doorway, running a hand through his damp hair. He must have come in from outside. His shirt was clinging to his shoulders, slightly wrinkled, and his eyes had that tired but warm look that always made me pause. "You're home late," I said softly. He smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't need effort, the one that escapes without asking permission. "Traffic," he answered, his voice low and smooth. And then the rain started. He walked closer, his step slow, almost careful. I don't know why, but every time he moved like that, I might catch. I tried to pretend I didn't notice how close he was getting, how his presence even from across the room. "You making tea?" he asked, leaning slightly against the counter. "Yeah," I said. "Want some?" He nodded, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. It was just the sound of the rain and the kettle beginning to rumble. I could feel him watching me, and even though I tried to focus on the teacups, my hands suddenly clumsy, like every movement a spark hidden in an argument mattered. Then it happened. Not dramatically, not loudly, but in a way that changed everything. He stepped behind me, not close enough to, but close enough that the warmth of his near my back, close enough that his brushed my shoulder, close enough that the air between us tightened like an invisible thread us together. I froze, not from fear, but from the overwhelming awareness of him. I don't know if he meant to stand so close. Maybe he didn't even realize, but I did. Every inch of me did. My heart started beating faster, slow at first, then quicker, as if I recognized something before my mind did. "You're always cold," he whispered somewhere near my ear. His voice was soft enough to blend with the sound of the rain. I swallowed because my voice didn't feel steady enough to answer. He reached for the cupboard above me, and when he leaned in just slightly, his brushed mine. That was the moment, that soft, warm pressure, that accidental closeness, that barely there contact that like it lasted longer than it actually did. He pressed against me just for a second, but it was enough to send a shiver all the way down my spine. Not a shocking one, a warm one, a slow one, a kind that made my tremble and my thoughts scatter. His arm moved over my shoulder as he reached up, and his was right behind me, steady and warm, like he was anchoring me in place. I wasn't sure if it too, that spark, that heat, but I knew I did, and I couldn't pretend I didn't. I him inhale quietly, like he was trying not to disturb the moment. His my neck, warm and unsteady. Then him stop, as if he realized how close he'd gotten, as if he suddenly understood the moment too. He didn't step back, neither did I. Slowly, very slowly, he lowered his arm, and instead of moving away, he stayed there behind me. His presence brushing against my back, his warmth circling around me like an embrace he hadn't given yet. "Should I his step back?" he murmured. I don't know why, but the question made my tighten. Maybe because we both knew stepping back wouldn't change the fact that something had shifted between us. Something real. Something we'd both been pretending not to feel. "No," I whispered before I could stop myself. "It's fine." Fine wasn't the right word. Nothing about fine. He moves closer. Too close, dangerous. It like something I shouldn't want, but did. He hesitated just for, And then him relax slightly, like he was accepting something neither of us wanted to admit out loud. "Did I make you uncomfortable?" he asked softly. I closed my eyes for a moment. "No," I whispered. "Not at all." His hand brushed the counter near mine. Not, but close. Too close. A soft warmth filled the space between our fingers, the kind that makes you aware of every movement, every thought. "I didn't mean to get that close," he said quietly. "I didn't mind," I answered. Him exhale slow and shaky. And somehow that was the moment that broke whatever boundary we had left. He moved just a little closer, not pushing, not forcing, but enough that the full warmth of his behind mine. "I caught again. I wasn't sure if you'd away," he whispered. "You didn't give me a reason to," I said. He laughed softly under, and the sound vibrated through the air between us, his voice lowered, almost hesitant. "If I'm too close, you can tell me." I shook my head slightly. "You're not too close." His hand moved slowly, carefully, and landed near mine on the counter, our fingers inches apart, the warmth of him magnetic. My rose and fell faster than I wanted him to notice. "I don't want to cross a line," he said quietly. "Maybe I should have stepped back. Maybe I should have broken the moment before it grew into something neither of us could hide. But I didn't. I couldn't." I finally turned my head slightly, just enough to look at him over my shoulder. His face was close, too close, and his eyes met mine with a softness that made my heart twist. "You didn't," I whispered. "Not yet." He held my gaze like he was searching for permission in the silence between us. And I don't know which of us moved first. Maybe it was both of us, maybe it was neither. But suddenly, the space between our faces, impossibly small. My parted, not for, but for, because the moment was too charged, too warm, too heavy, and that's when I realized I couldn't hold back anymore. Not from the way he looked at me, not from the heat between us, not from the closeness that too natural to push away. "I've wanted to do that for a long time," he whispered. My heart stumbled. "Then why didn't you?" "Because he pressed against me," he said softly. I didn't know if you it, too. I didn't answer with words. Instead, I let the quiet speak for me. I let my steady. I let my lean just slightly, not into him, but toward him. And that was enough. He didn't rush. He didn't grab me. He didn't me in. He simply stayed there close enough for the world to disappear. Close enough for the tension to feel electric. Close enough for every heartbeat to echo between us. He pressed against me, I thought, and I couldn't hold back. Not from the moment. Not from him. Whatever happened after that night didn't start with... It started with a moment. A closeness. A spark that refused to fade. And sometimes that's all it takes.